Jenny, they can't hear. You can't hear nothing.
I have come and I have been told that there is too much noise that they can't hear in the back. Can you stop your visiting for a while so we can have a history? They need to know what we are reading today. Like I said, please be courteous. They can't hear, please. The surviving original oldies from the first cousin generation are Ann Esther Contreras. Would you please stand up? Lorenzo, my uncle Morales, and my aunt Consuelo Garcia. Would you please stand up wherever you are?
You can't move it to the middle?
If they want to move in, they'll move in. Hey, if they want to come and listen, they're going to listen. Don't worry about it.
Okay. You'll have to bear with me if you're toward the back. You're welcome to come to the front so you can hear. Will you please stand up? The three surviving cousins from the first generation, which are okay. My grandparents came to visit my great-grandmother, Lorenza, who was sick at the time in 1936 and 1937. In 1938, they moved to California and settled in a place called Little Cuba, now known as Chinatown. Many of our descendants have served our country in the Korean, Vietnam, and Afghanistan wars. In World War II. There have also been a variety of sets of twins and a set of triplets born in our descendants. Last but not least, we have over 400 descendants from the Union of Santos and Trinidad Morales. May they rest in peace. Would all the Morales family please stand?
Hey, Morales!
All the Morales, let me hear you.
Hey, Morales!
This is to let you know that the Morales have been here from the beginning to get this reunion together. I thank each and every one of the Morales for their part in this reunion today. I thank you very much for listening so you'll know who has put this reunion together. Thanks again. The next one will be...
All right, thank you, Prima Connie. That was awesome. The Morales representation. All right, Morales. I love you, primos. Here you go. Here's the Garzas. John Garza will be representing the Garza family. And I just want to say a little history about this. If it wasn't for his great-grandfather, the Bayesteros, my Mama Juana, my Mama Teresa, my Papa Santos would have never came to what she called Little Cuba. And Little Dinah, Little Chinatown. We would have never been here. We would have been in Colorado. So thanks to your great-grandfather and your great-grandmother, that's why the Bayesteros and Rivas family are here. Thank you.
I'm John Delgado, number one son of Paula Delgado. She's a Garza. I say number one because I was the firstborn son. Aquí vamos. Mama Chona, de Sion and Juan Garza were my grandfather. Encarnacion's son. I mean, they were his parents. There's one of the sisters, the Garzas.
Hey, we're videotaping, Pancho.
Encarnación, Encarnación.
Step forward. Ven. Yeah, there you go.
Encarnación was born in 1900, and my abuelita Luciana era Huarquecho, pero Garza se llamaba Chana. She was born in 1904, and along with that, they moved to Dinuba when my mother was months old in 1923 from Texas, Texas.
I told you you had words.
There's been talk of Little Cuba, Chinatown, and then my mom and Encarnacion Garza and Luis came in a railroad boxcar. They were on the railroad. And at the same time, they worked the fields all the way to California. And it was my tío Jose, my tía Lencha, my tío Satarino Garza, who lived in Little Cuba for the first time. And my mother was the firstborn to Encarnacion Garza and Luciana Garza. Paula had 6 children. She married a Delgado. Raymond Garza was the next, Emily Nunez was the next born, and she had 7 children. The third one was Raymond Garza. He had 4 children. The fourth one was Rami Garza, who passed away in 1960. The next was John Garza. He had 5 children. And then there was Marianne, La Abuelita.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, have the respect. Por favor, have the respect. Right now, John is telling about his history. Have the respect. Don't visit right now. We have plenty of time to visit with each other. Please. Thank you.
And at the same time, Marianne Olmos was the last born to my abuelito and abuelita. And they had 2 children, and they reside in Lindsay. And one more little thing about Little Cuba, my mom tells me that along with the ones mentioned before, Tío Jose, Tía Lencha, Tío Satarino Garza, who lived there and migrated from Texas, there was also Mama Lorenza, Tía Lorenza Ortiz, and then there was the Espinos, the Curieles, and the Hernandez that lived in Little Cuba. And little by little, all those little houses that were there, Little Cuba is just an empty field right now. It's still there. It's right there on Alta, in between Q Street and Alta Avenue by Nakashima's. We all knew Nakashima's. And these families, they moved their little houses, their casitas from the campo into the barrio, and that's where it all began, I believe, and that's why we're here today. If those of you can remember living in Dinuba, in the barrio, in Chinatown, that's where it all began. Gracias.
Yeah! Thank you, Garza! Whip up! Woo! Garza! All right. She's going to go last to Trejo. Okay, the order of the family was Mama Juana was the oldest of the family. Mama Juana, briefly, let me tell you, that woman was a traveler.
They're videotaping it.
She was a traveler, Mama Juana. What she did was that she came, let me back up. Mama Juana, when she came with her daughter. They came, first it was, okay, let me say the history. What happened was when in Chihuahua, the majority of us are from the Chihuahua blood of the Apaches. So we are from Mama Lorenza and her husband, the first one with Mama Juana. And we're also, a lot of us are mixed with a lot of other bloods. But you gotta remember, we're all related. Now when these sisters, my Mama Juana, her daughter was Teresa Rivas. Teresa Bayesteros Rivas. She met a young man named Santos Rivas and Chihuahua. From Chihuahua, they migrated. No, the firstborn was Adela Rivas Medina. She's the firstborn of Mama Santos, Papa Santos, and Mama Teresa. Mama Juana would follow wherever Teresa would go. Then they went to El Paso. They went to El Paso, Texas. Who's from Texas? All right, Texas. Okay, the Bayesteros, the reason why we don't have Texas behind us is because my Papa Santos, after Uncle Nato was born in El Paso, he went up north to migrate and work. That means he went to Wyoming, Nebraska, Colorado. In fact, his blood, the Rivas blood, originally came from Pueblo, Colorado. From the Bayesteros family, when they first got here, They were met with the Garza family in 1935. They met in a little city in Corona, just imagine that, down south, and that's where the Garzas brought up their prima, Teresa, up to Little Cuba. When they got to Little Cuba, Mama Adela and Uncle Nato said, no, let's go back. Let's go back to Colorado, por favor, or Nebraska, Papa Santos. Papa Santos listened to his wife like we all do, women, but they listen, so he listened and he stayed in the barrio, and that's one of the true stories, and I love that story, and it's one thing beautiful. With that, Mama Teresa being the only daughter, we have, Papa Santos was from Zacatecas. Who knows Antonio Aguilar? Hey, that's where my Papa Santos is from, Zacatecas. And that's what I'm telling you. Okay, here we go. First order of the family of the Bayesteros come because of Teresa Rivas and Santos Rivas. The oldest is Miss Adela Medina, who married Felipe Medina. And my mother used to always love Chihuahua. Okay, all right. Fernando. Got me mixed up with
Fortunato.
And Uncle Nato Rivas was second child. Rivas reputation, where are you, Rivas? Then the third child, Mama Teresa had was Santos, but he passed away at a young age. Then my tía Socorro Payan. Rivas, ¿dónde está? My tía Socorro is 92 years old. That is one of the oldest family members here. Hua! Big round of applause. And then my uncle Enrique Rivas. Remember Enrique? Awesome man, World War II veteran, very honored, Purple Heart. And then my tia, my beautiful tia, Eleanor Campos. Where are the Campos?
Yeah! I'm a Campos.
And then after Eleanor was my mama. My mama was Nicolasa Rivas Vega. And after she had me 2 years later, the Lord took her. So I was raised by the Medinas, and I'm very proud of that. I miss you, Mom. Okay, Santos Rivas. Where's the Santos Rivas family? No, wait a minute. Where's the Vega family? Where's the Vega? Vega family. All right. Santos Rivas was next, and there's a big family of Santos Rivas. Juana Renteria was next. Charlie Rivas and Gloria Rivera. My tia Gloria's back there, so say hi to her.
Yeah,
so we got the three of them there that are our generation that we know so much. Is Uncle Santos, Tia Socorro, and my tia Gloria. That is the Bayesteros. Here's the Trejos. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you. Bayesteros.
Okay. I wrote this in 1990 with my mother helping me. 1990, the first reunion that we had. The Trejo family, okay? All right, Los Trejos. We have traced our roots, Trejos, in Chihuahua, Mexico. We discovered that they came to the United States in the late 1890s, early 1900s. To the younger generations, that's the younger generations. Did you know that at that time, the border was wide open?
Yeah!
People could come and go as they pleased. It cost a penny on the trolley to come across the United States. Also $1 in the United States was the same in Mexico, $1. First we settled in Chamizal in Mexico, second in El Paso, Texas, third in Fort Worth, Texas. By the way, I'm from Fort Worth, Texas. And finally, we wound up in Danuba, California. All this happened because of the war between Mexico and France. After that war, Mexico's hatred for the French people cost our great-grandfather Andrew Trejo, who was full-blooded French. Okay? He lost his land. Their acreage of oranges was bought by Mexico. With all their land now gone, they decided to move closer to the United States. before or just as they started to move, the Mexican army came and took our great-grandfather Andreas. He was never seen again. So you know what happened? He was murdered. Great-grandmother Ezequiel Trejo, his wife, now a widow, she made the move along with her two sons, Tomás, my grandfather, and Jose to El Chamizal, Mexico. By the way, Jose, if I'm wrong, he's the one that lived in Chicago. During this time, late in the 1890s, grandfather Tomás met and he soon married our beautiful grandmother Librada Ontiveros.
Yeah!
Our grandmother Malala. They were married in Mexico. Around the turn of the century or late in the 1890s, because of a huge storm, the Rio Grande changed its course. So because of this act of God, what was one day Chamizal, Mexico, the next day was now a part of the United States. The river, the Rio Grande, had moved further south. So that was how we, the Trejos, got across from Mexico to the United States. So we were not wetbacks.
Ah, you care!
Okay, while still in Mexico, grandmother Malala's occupation was the seamstress. She made and sewed the ornamental pieces and the bullfighters' jackets. I now understand that our cousin, Rachel Tapia Espinosa, who lives in Chihuahua, Mexico, said that she saw a place or a village that is called Cinegrila de los Trejos in Chihuahua, Mexico.
Yeah!
Sometime in the future, it sure would be nice to check this place. So after the change of the Rio Grande South, Grandpa Tomás and his family settled in El Paso, Texas. For living in El Paso, Texas, Grandpa Tomás was hired to work with the early telephone company of AT&T as a linesman. Soon thereafter, Grandpa and Grandma had their first child, Refugio Cuca, in 1903. 2 or 3 years later, they moved to Fort Worth, Texas, because Grandpa was promoted to foreman in that area. They moved to 212 Taylor Street. By the way, I was born at 212 Taylor Street, where they lived through the 1900s and up to the 1940s. They had their second child, Cruz, in 1906, their third child, Rito, in 1912, fourth child, Abundio, my father, in 1914, and their fifth child, Charles, in 1917. Grandpa stayed with AT&T for some 20-30 years until he retired. He died February the 6th, 1936, and is buried in Fort Worth. His mother, Sikia, who died a few years earlier, is also buried in Fort Worth. Grandpa's Tomás' brother, Jose Trejo, moved to the Chicago area in the 30s, where he settled with his family. So we have family members over there. Okay. Family member. Grandpa stayed with AT&T some 20-30 years until he retired. He died February 36th and is buried in Fort Worth. His mother, Sikia, who died a few years earlier, is also buried in Fort Worth. Okay. In fact, my cousin Emma on my mom's side, who lives in Chicago, was married to one of our cousins, Henry Trejo Mundillo. And one time when I was in Chicago in 1980, she introduced me to two of the Trejos. And I really read that. Grandma Malala and Lorenza Ontiveros Reyes and Grandma's sisters Juana, Bayesteros, Expectación Garza, Chonita, and Trinidad Rivas Morales. We're all living in El Paso and Fort Worth. The first family to move to California was our aunt Expectación Chonita Garza. Recall one thing. Juan Garza was a great-grandfather, and yet there's several Juana in the family. Okay, okay, there are two. Okay, no. Okay, okay, Little Cobita is located across from Pentaca Flavor. Pantojas came back from the Germans, only Germans, and right across the street from there was the Germans church, which is now Nakashima's store. Now with the family Garza settled in Cubita, they started to work in the fields. They followed the harvest up and down. It was during that time that Lorenza Garza met and married Paul Ortiz while in the Coachella Valley. Great-grandmother Lorenza Ontiveros Reyes came to Dinuba and stayed with her daughter Expectacion Chonita. This was in 1930. Lorenza Reyes is the mother of Juana Bayesteros, Expectacion Garza, Librada Trejo, and Trinidad Morales. There was also a brother named Librado Ontiveros who stayed in Mexico. Great-grandmother Lorenza died in 1936 and is buried in Smith Mountain Cemetery at Dinuba. The next family to come to Cubita was her cousin Teresa Rivas and her family in 1935. She is the daughter, she is the daughter of Juana Bayesteros. Teresa and her husband Santos Rivas came from Nebraska, where they had lived for a number of years. They settled down next to Expectacion Garza. The next family to come to Dinuba was the Trejos. We also settled on those little houses in Cubita. This time, the land of lots of us grew up being used as a dump area or a city.
You're blocking my video.
Trejos, Cruz, Rita, Bundy, and Charles came to Dinuba in a flat truck with everything that we could get on our back and about 17 people. Uncle Charles and Ilvera were just married. What a honeymoon, ha ha ha. It took us about 5 or 6 days to get here from Fort Worth, Texas. We had to pull over once in a while for the honeymooners, which is kidding. The last family to move to Dinuba in 1937 was Abundio's family, my family. Abundio had come earlier, but being that Josephine was in her 8th month of pregnancy with Angelita, his family stayed behind and was not allowed to make the trip by truck. He sent for his wife Josephine and children who joined him number 1937. Their first child, Angelita Natalia, made her debut on December the 1st, approximately 3 weeks after arriving by train. Almost done. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Okay. Soon thereafter, 1939, the families got together and they brought some lots, which was a dump area, and also those little houses in Cubita, moved them to those lots. I think that about 3 of them are still standing. Today, Q, P, and O, P, and Q streets. The next family to move of the Nuba was our aunt, Juana Bayesteros, on grandmother's side of the family. She came from Colorado to Woodland, California, where she stayed. She arrived in Dinuba in 1943. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Rachel. Thank you very much. God bless you. We have Mr. Antonio Contreras that wants to give a gift, as well as my prima, Monica. All right.
Real quick, we have a gift here. We'll let the President, Monica Rodriguez, give a little.
First, I want to thank all the family that came. I want to say that I made my primo's wish came true. They passed away. Raymond Pineda and Felix Garcia and Abdullah Trejo. This is for you, and our image came, the wish that you guys wanted came alive today. I'm so happy that all this finally came together. It was a lot of work. It was a year in making, and I want to thank all the family members for helping out. And thank you. This is beautiful. Look at this. All this family. I'm happy. Thank you for everyone for coming. This is a gift for Ramona and Richard Trejo.
Yeah!
Without them, we couldn't have this here because we tried to do it at the park. And they said our family was too big to do it at the park. So we want to give them thanks for doing this and donating their place for us to have this done. So we made a special plaque to Richard and Ramona.
¡Viva Richard y Ramona!
I also want Isaac Prado. Where's Isaac Prado?
Isaac! Isaac!
Stand up. I want to give for making all of our shirts.
Yeah!
For Richard and Ramona, a special thank you to him. He did a lot. Thank you so much for all your hard work, for making the shirts. I know it's a lot of hard work. I love you. Thank you. Thank you, Richard.
Yeah!
And for all the family's help, we wouldn't have did this without all of you for helping out, donating, doing all the raffle. Thank you so much. And look it, we did it. We did it.
Yeah!
I want to say thank you. Thank you. This is the God's blessing for even having Father Gabriel Reese come and bless us all and started off with a great prayer for our family that has passed away. Your family. I married into the family. Right now, I want to move along because we have a trio.
El trío de Felipe Yáñez y sus alazanes.
And before they get started, my husband's oldest sister. My father-in-law Cruz did not marry because she did not want to marry. She did not want to marry into the family. Cruz. Margarita was the daughter they had, and she stayed in Fort Worth, Texas. She would have been 91 years old today, like my mother. And I had the pleasure of being with her. She stayed with me. She stayed with Connie. She stayed with Lolita. She came lots of times. And now we have her granddaughter and her nuera, here from Texas. This is her second time here. And she tried to bring all 20. She's got pictures of all the grandkids, great-grandkids, everybody. But my husband's oldest sister, Margarita Trejo, she spent time with my folks. I still have my folks. My mom is 91. My dad's going to be 95 this October 11th.
October 11th!
But, so I wanted to tell you, Margarita passed away 3 years ago, and she's buried in Fort Worth, Texas, where Don Cruz was. Don Cruz went several times back there trying to marry Mom, but she wouldn't. I got to meet Connie, her sister. Connie went to school with Rachel Arias. Didn't know that was her cousin's sister. She was a high school graduate with her. She couldn't come, but I want to thank, and the dedication that the trio is going to do is Ramon Ayala from Texas, and I want to dedicate this to her because when we went to Texas, me and my husband, she gave us the big albums of all kinds of Texan music, so we got to bring it home.
All right, before you guys start, we need volunteers.
Thank you, Lori. Let's get them going, you guys. For the food, to serve the food, volunteers, please.